You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and as always, each and every night, we come to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our main website. Well, it's our main radio website, I should say. You can listen to the X-Zone 724, 365, as well as live Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight at www.xzoneradiotv.com. Just a quick little note over here before we get to our next guest. A lady I love talking to. Her name is Kimberly George, and we'll be speaking to Kimberly in a moment or two, but Gwilda Wiyaka's show, The Science of Magic. It's a great show, a lot of super guests, and you're invited to listen to the Science of Magic, whether it is going to be, on the radio, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, or on their website at thescienceofmagic.net. Joining me now is Kimberly McGeorge. She is a quantum energy healer, frequency master, naturopathic doctor, and remote viewer. Now, these are just some of the many words that we can use to describe Dr. Kimberly. She's internationally known as a frequency master, conscious creation expert, and naturopathic energy healer. She would like you to go to Beyond Frequency. Dr. Kimberly has been heard on, numerous times on the Your Wealth Revolution with Darius, the Sheila Show, the Aware Show with Lisa Garr, just to mention a few. Tonight we're going to be talking to Dr. Kimberly about new technology in energy medicine changes that are going to just change everything. And Dr. Kimberly, welcome back to the X-Zone. Great talking to you, and yours and all your great people that work with you, a very happy New Year. Craig, why don't we have Dr. Kimberly with us? What's that, Craig? Dr. Kimberly, are you there? Testing. Dr. Kimberly, where are you?
Hear me?
Now I can. Hey.
Okay. I was trying to use my headphones, and I guess there's a short or something wrong with my headphones. So we'll do it the old-fashioned way if my audio is okay.
Yeah. How are you? How are you, dear?
I am absolutely wonderful. I was thinking as you were talking about all the shows that I'd been on that I think this is my third time here.
And it's not going to be your last time either, because we love you here.
Well, we love you here too, so it's a win-win.
It is, and congratulations on all the great work you've done and you keep on doing, and the lives and hearts that you touch. I was on your site earlier today, and some of the references that you give, my dear. Wow.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, it's my pleasure. It's my passion. And I love to do it. I love to discover new things. And, I love about you, Rob, is you're so open to letting me kind of theorize with you, and you take it to the next level.
Well, why not? Isn't that what we're supposed to do, is to share our experiences, our thoughts, and our messages with others so they can absorb it, spin it around a bit, and say either wow or what would happen if we did this? So this is what I like doing, and I know that you do that with what you do, and the other members of the cast and crew that we have here do that. You should see our production meetings. we'll start on one topic, and the next thing you know, an associate producer will pick up a topic and say, well, wait a minute, Rob. If we were to take a spin on it this way, to open up the door for the guest to share the message with the listener, or, why don't we take this way? But anyway, that's how we like to do things here. Open the doors and see what comes in. And with you, it's nothing but great stuff. So tell me about this new energy technique.
Well, first, I kind of want to share something. I really quickly ran your auric field before we got on. I love to call you out on the show.
Yeah,
thanks. It's so beautiful, I've got to tell you. What I didn't realize about you, I knew you were an intuitive, but you know what I didn't realize that you carry so much in your field is you're such a healer, Rob. You have so much healing energy in your field.
I didn't know that.
You do. At least right now you do. Of course, our auric field's fluid, but I just thought for my own personal amusement I would do that. So, and I think one of the reasons and what we're finding out with this new technology, which is right now proprietary, but we're developing apps and different things, so a lot of people can use it. But, what we're finding out is how fluid the auric field is. And even I, who've worked in frequencies for, 14, 15 years in naturopathic medicine for 25 years,
wow.
I am shocked by how much our energy affects other things and how it sticks in other things. So a lot of the things, I've just been running thousands and thousands and thousands of all sorts of frequency and energy scans with this new tech, and it's so fast and it's so quick. So I walk around my house literally taking pictures of things and reading the energy. And this isn't me and my abilities, just like you have massive intuitive abilities. This is tech ability. Yeah. And so it's so cool and kind of really terrifying to see how we affect other objects and animals and people and houses,
Sure, because we're all interlinked one way or another. Nothing is like, here I'm looking at and touching my desk. It's, wow, it seems solid, but it's really not solid. And we're learning so much as we get into quantum physics, quantum mechanics, that this is great for the work that you are doing because science is going to validate what you've been saying for all these years.
Yeah, it actually is. And I'm so happy because you know what it means to me for everyone is it means quicker mental health, quicker emotional health, greater spiritual expansion, and we're going to start solving and unwrapping these mysteries of the diseases and the struggles that we have health-wise so much quicker. I mean, and I've always taught this, and with some of the technology I use, I could find out kind of the long way, in a half hour, hour. But now we can pinpoint in minutes and sometimes seconds, Rob, that someone has a hormonal imbalance. Then we can dig down again in seconds and just run thousands of things and say, okay, you should take this herbal stuff, or we're just going to run some frequencies, and we're going to take a picture of your auric field before. And then what's so exciting is we get to show them afterwards, and they see that their energy can change in an instant. And if you believe that, then you start to believe, wow, maybe my finances can change in an instant, and maybe I can develop intuitive abilities in an instant, and maybe life doesn't have to be such a struggle, but it can become more joy.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. But let me ask you a question, talking about the fluidity of the auric field. I'm being serious when I ask you this question. Does the amount of water that we drink amplify the fluid auric field because water is a conductor?
Well, absolutely. And one reason that's such a great question because, as we all know, we keep saying the word fluid, a fluid auric field, but you just mentioned kind of inadvertently that we are 70 to 80%, water. Yep. And so it absolutely amplifies your energy. It absolutely, emphasizes your psychic ability. It emphasizes how you can conduct, and lay your hands on another person, or how far your auric field extends. And we see it all the time. I ran a quick scan earlier today on someone, and immediately her kidneys came up, and I saw the stress, and I'm like, you're not drinking enough water. And in my old technology, Rob, if they weren't drinking enough water, we would have to put water bottles on the machines to substitute for the lack of water that they were drinking. So great question.
Where do you see naturopathic medicine in the future? I'm so happy to see more hospitals using some naturopathic techniques. I'm so happy to see that the Western medical community is finally looking to the naturopathic for very simple solutions. I've never understood, Dr. Kimberly, why society has kind of pushed naturopathic medicine to the side, since without naturopathic medicine, you wouldn't have modern day medicine.
Yeah, it's a strange thing how it got all turned around somewhere at some time. I'm not quite sure when that happened. But the great thing is, they are being more open to it. Integrative medicine is becoming huge. It's still kind of a stretch for some people to believe that frequencies, literally just, giving someone frequencies can actually heal a disease, because maybe they don't understand the level that you and I do and some of your listeners do, about energy. So we still have a lot of, how I see it, we're in the education phase. And that's why, oh gosh, you're such a blessing, Mr. McConnell, because we need people like you that are willing to allow us to begin to educate and teach and excite people. Some people still don't know, even this machine I've had for 15 years, they don't even know about the old machine. They're like, new tech. I don't even understand what you're talking about, your old tech. So this is so needed, and I think we're at the education stage.
That is so important, and you nailed it right on the head, Kim, is that it takes education. And this is where I think that a lot of society, because of the high-tech, instantaneous data that we're fed 24/7, 365, is that people are getting lazy. They don't want to be educated. They think they can just go to Google, put in a question, and get an answer. But it takes an education to get anywhere, even in health, alternative health, naturopathic health, Western medicine. You need to get that lesson. So I applaud you, dear.
What I love about this is actually what I'm playing with on the perimeters, which I think you will be really open to and your audience will be open to, which is I've started playing around with, of course, I can read with this technology. Anybody can. People that see auras, like myself, we don't need to be in your physical presence. I can look at you with my bare eyes and see your auric field, but not everyone can do that. But what I'm so excited about is we can, take a picture of your house and analyze the energy. We can take a picture of your pets and analyze the energy. But what's really cool, Rob, that was so fascinating. On a whim, I've been talking to somebody that lives on a habitation site. A lot of your listeners will know what I'm talking about. With some Bigfoot type of creatures, and she sent me a picture, and I used my technology on it. And what was so fascinating was the whole auric field was indigo. Being a very, sensitive creature, a very psychic creature, a very spiritual creature. Fascinating stuff. How can we apply this? It really, the sky's the limit.
Well, certainly. Let's just take that example of Bigfoot. Since we know that Bigfoot is very sensitive, am I right, based on the color of the aura?
Yes.
Then we need to change our approach. It just shows that we have been using the wrong approach in order to try and communicate with this fellow creature on this planet.
That's interesting. I hadn't even really thought about that. Instead of kind of like the hunt, track, kill approach that a lot of people use, more like I even believe that it's possible, and I know you probably had guests that have talked about this, but can mind to mind type communication with these creatures, and the auric field kind of, at least with this one, and probably like people, I'm guessing there's probably a range, in personality, behavior, and gifts and abilities, but at least with this one that I got, to take an auric snapshot of, I believe that may very well be true.
For our listeners who didn't have the opportunity of listening to the last time you were on, the last two times, tell us about your journey to where you are today. When did it start? When was little Kimberly McGeorge? When did she start her quest? And why?
Gosh, I wish I'd figured it all out when I was super young, but really my quest began when, I would hear sirens at night, and I didn't understand why I'd get these movies of, and I'm 3, so I don't even understand half of what I'm seeing.
Sure.
People being murdered and people being taken away in ambulances and car crashes and rapes and just all of this awful, awful stuff. And so I came to hate sirens. Of course, as a child, you kind of put the focus on the wrong thing. And I kind of tried, to put the pillow over my head. And actually, at the time, that's how my ability of remote viewing came in. It came in through hearing the sirens and through my ears. Of course, now, I can do it at will. But back then, it became something horrifying and terrifying. And I shut it down until I was in college. And I grew up in a very, typical story. I hear this so much. Grew up in a very religious home, in a home that is not accepting of these kind of things, still isn't, as far as my parents. And when I got to college, college is the time to spread our wings. Yep. And I started showing a little more and more of myself. And, people would come to me and sit in my dorm room and be like, is my boyfriend going to ask me to marry him? And I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, yes, he is. Yes, he is. And 6 months later, they'd break up and, date other people. And they'd come back and they'd be like, how do you know? And I've always been able to, see things and see timelines and see the future and see the past. And so I was validated as far as my natural abilities. But when I, came to struggle as a young woman with some very severe health problems. In fact, I was kind of this medical mystery. When I got pregnant, I would literally start the dying process. And the doctors tried to give me all sorts of medication, and they suggested like random surgeries. Like they didn't even know what was wrong with me, and they're suggesting surgeries. And I said, there's gotta be another way. It's just that, I guess, that weirdness in me, Rob. And so I started exploring naturopathic medicine and herbalism, and I had a mail order company and helped a lot of people, and had many, many clinical practices and treated thousands of people, in person. And I guess I was so frustrated. It was almost like I was a medical doctor handing out natural pills by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And if you guys have ever gone to a naturopath, maybe not now, but back in the day, they would give you like 10 to 20 things. Wow. And number one, you could barely afford it. And number two, like who can choke down 100 pills a day at 3 different times? No one. No. And so people would come back to me and I'd be like, why do you still have a half a bottle of this? Why do you still have this? And they'd be like, I forgot. And I couldn't swallow it. And, compliance was so low. So I thought there's gotta be something deeper. So then I studied homeopathy. And so which I used to think was witchcraft, which is hilarious to me because now I do even weirder stuff. But, homeopathy is obviously just the frequency trapped in the liquid. And I got better results with 1 or 2 bottles, which is so much more economical than all this hundreds and thousands of dollars of product. And so then I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's below this? I kept going, what's below? Kind of like your production meetings, shake it up. What's below this?
Right.
And I realized, we could use pure frequency to heal people and forget all the expense.
I've been sitting here doodling while you're talking, and I do this all the time. It's not to take anything away from the guest I have, but when I doodle, something happens. I start putting down questions that I feel that are relevant to what we're talking about. For example, with this technique that you're talking about, I can see this being wonderful for children. You can actually better understand the child. You can better guide the child. And then if people are having problems with their adolescent children or their teenagers, once again, you can help. This is a win-win-win-win-win-win-win situation that you have there.
It really is. Yeah. And it breaks down like what I've learned and what I learn every day and what just keeps driving home and home and home to me is how specific we are. We get fears from childhood trapped deep in our energy fields, deep in our tissues, and it doesn't come out right away. I'll give you an example. One of the things we see a lot when we scan people is phobias and fear. And of course, everyone knows, fear. We don't want to carry fear around in our energy field. It causes stress, which causes disease and all of that. But we see these consistent fears. And I've got to tell you, I resisted this at first. When I scanned myself a couple of days ago, fear of thunderstorms came up. And I'm like, I'm a grown, woman. I'm not afraid of thunderstorms. And, I started thinking, Rob, and just like what I was saying about the police sirens and stuff, when I was a child, thunderstorms, lit up my room at night and I saw figures standing there. So I'm not afraid of thunderstorms, but to my body, it associates the terror of seeing spirits with thunderstorms. And I still have that fear in my field and it still needs to be eliminated. And, we live in this holographic universe. So we are this fluid energy and we are all these swirling masses and layers and chakras and nadjas and meridians and all this amazing stuff in your auric field. And we can see it, but still we live in this 3D body and we have to have full embodiment. We have to live in this body. And I've gone the other direction, Rob. I've gone to where it's all like woo-woo consciousness and, but it doesn't work. you got to come back to the body sometime and deal with, aging and deal with stress and the effects of stress. But what I love about this technology is very specifically, it tells you what are you allergic to. One of the things that keeps coming up for me is animal fat. Well, guess what? One of my favorite foods is bacon.
Mine too.
But you learn. It's great to know. So I know if I'm going to have bacon, then I'm going to stress my body. So guess what? Maybe if I feel tired that day, I will take a 15-minute nap. Sure. So you can start to mitigate your life and eliminate stress. Stress, imbalances our brain chemistry. It causes us to have addictive behavior patterns. It causes us to lash out at the people we love. I see this as like the step behind stress. We can continually say, where are we falling short and what do we need to watch out for? And what I love about this technology is before the best, conventional medical science can test you, this will pick it up in your outer energy field before it hits your physical body.
Fantastic. Truly fantastic. How long did it take you to develop this?
Well, I'm not that smart.
Wait a second here, young lady. This is where I'm going to step in and say, I know you, and I know how very smart you are.
Well, you're very sweet. But, I, of course, go to people that are, programmers and analysts and understand, I guess you would say, the application of this technology and what it means for my world, the paranormal, the metaphysical, the naturopathic world, but they understand how to make it happen. So it's kind of a combination. You go to engineers and you say, can you develop an app? Can you develop something that scans through and then provides the remedy? And even more, what I love about this, and a lot of people have similar types of machines or technology, but this is so portable. This is iPad friendly. This is iPhone. I mean, you can have a pharmacy, natural pharmacy of frequencies in your pocket. Wow. I mean, it just blows my mind. Like we are, you and I are old enough to know, Star Trek, you used to watch Star Trek and they'd hook them up to these scanning machines and give them some kind of light zapping thing and they'd be okay. We're here, we're there, and I think that's amazing.
So from what I understand, Kim, when it comes to naturopathic medicine in general, what we've done is we've done a big circle because this is where it all started for medicine, was naturopaths. They were the first pharmacists. And it's because of the naturopaths that we have this very large pharmaceutical business right now. But now people are getting back to the basics, pretty well near where all this started. What do you think about that? Do you think that people are finally smartening up? The light bulb is coming on and they're saying, you know what, there's more to this than the magic pill that I get from my doctor?
I do, and I think it is because of, beautiful, alternative programs that present alternative views like yours. And I think it's due to the internet and, now we can be open to, books that we wouldn't have known about or speakers or teachers. So I think the information is there. And even if you're, let's say you type in, foot pain, you're going to get, natural remedies right along with go see your doctor or go to your pharmacy and buy Advil. Like you're going to get all everything when you type that in, Google or your search engine. And I think that's wonderful because, we're naturally curious. And so people are opening up to that. And the worldwide movement against the GMOs, like how amazing is that? Like that's incredible. And so I think we're realizing that, oh, wait, I can't poison and, put toxins in my body and stress and expect everything to be hunky-dory. I think we're paying attention to what we listen to and what we watch and what we breathe and what we put in our mouths and how we move our bodies. And I think that is such a good thing. It's rather frightening. It almost seems like a massive awakening. It really surprises me, to be honest.
Well, it surprises me too, and we've got to take a short break. Dr. Kim, please stand by. Exonation, our guest this hour is the lovely, talented, hardworking naturopath, the lady who helps so many each and every day, Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, www.kimberlymcgeorge.com. And Dr. Kim and I will be back on the other side of this brief break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, you can listen to all the past interviews at The Science of Magic. Great stuff there, www.thescienceofmagic.net. We'll be back shortly. Whatever you do, please don't go away or don't get abducted by aliens, or just be here when I come back.
Jeff Gilson didn't go out looking for adventure, danger, or the answers to most of the controversial political intrigues of the past 30 years. But he found all three when he began investigating the mysterious death of his close friend, Margaret Thatcher's favorite speechwriter. Just an ordinary guy living in a small, sleepy suburb 20 miles outside of London, Jeff's questions provoked a powerful response on both sides of the Atlantic. He was shot at, warned off by the CIA, and formed a close bond with one of Israel's most notorious intelligence officers. Relive Jeff's gripping adventure in his fast-paced book, Maggie's Hammer. Peel away the layers of establishment deception and discover, as Jeff did, that his friend was an assassin with British intelligence, that Great Britain has been America's secret hitman for the past 30 years, and that Princess Diana was not the target in that Parisian tunnel. All of this and more when you visit www.maggieshammer.com and find the link to buying this explosive book online. More and more ordinary people feel they no longer have control of their lives. Jeff fought back. He asked the difficult questions. He set out to redesign his own destiny, and you can do the same using Maggie's Hammer as your guide. Don't waste a moment. Buy it today. Visit www.maggieshammer.com.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Wilda Wiecka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we will weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Wilda Wiecka, and the Science of Magic right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Good real estate websites are not just about showing listings, but offering visitors valuable information about neighborhoods, market statistics, tips, and personal insights. Luckily, you will find that on Roost, but you won't on many other real estate websites in Budapest. That's why we created Roost. Roost is a website with tailored results for the foreign investor, curated by Hungarian-loving expats who found their home abroad and decided to roost in Budapest. Let Roost help you get started on the right foot. Whether you intend to live, work, play, retire, or simply invest abroad, Roost offers all types of properties in Budapest, from affordable studios to luxury homes. From neighborhood insights like where to grab a great coffee or how to buy property, our team of local experts can answer your questions and speak to the direct concerns of a foreign investor. Buying foreign property is an exciting and complex adventure. It can also be very time-consuming and costly if you don't have the best information and resources at hand. Roost provides professional real estate services and assistance to an international clientele of foreign property investors and rental apartment owners in Budapest. For more information on Roost, visit their website at www.roost.co. That's www.rooste.co.
Starr began to demonstrate a metaphysical connection to the spirit world as a little girl. Her family noticed the connection, but it was a great-grandmother who told the family that Linnea was indeed gifted. The great-grandmother, who was also gifted, felt that Linnea had indeed inherited these attributes. It has been noticed that oftentimes such things are passed down through the generations. Linnea was also born with a caul, a thin white membrane across a newborn's face. Legend has it that if the baby is born with this caul, the child will have second sight, or what we call psychic abilities. Linnea's star does past, present, and future, and has the gift of prophecy. It is written within scriptures that if you are able to give factual information and prophecies indeed come true, the gift indeed comes from the divine realm. Linnea Star does large interactive groups as well as private gatherings. For more information on Linnea Star or to contact Linnea for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website at www.linneastar.com. That's www.linneastar.com.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Dr. Kimberly McGeorge is our very special guest this hour. www.kimberlymcgeorge.com. Kimberly, what were some of your New Year's resolutions for 2016?
You're probably not surprised to hear to work less and enjoy being an entrepreneur more. But I haven't really done so well at that so far.
Yeah, I can tell by all the work you do. When do you find time for Kimberly?
I have to craft it. I usually take 4 to 6 mini vacations with my family a year, and that's the time that I really completely unplug. Although when you kind of have the abilities I do and do what I do, that's also when you get quiet, as everyone knows. That's when spirit also speaks to you. And so then you might end up working because you get a new book or you get a new program or you get new information. And that seems to be happening more and more lately. It just seems like, they talk about, what is it, the veil getting, thinner, or the membrane getting thinner. And I think almost everyone worldwide, whether you believe in the paranormal or you believe in, any of this stuff, energy, I think they'd agree. It just seems more and more people are having that kind of access to information and to their abilities.
This new technology that we've been talking about, how will you be able to use it when you go with other groups investigating the paranormal?
Well, what I'm always looking for, because I do some work still, not a lot because I'm one person, but I do get called in on very severe paranormal cases, usually involving children, because that, people will call for a child way before they'll call for themselves.
Exactly.
And, so one of the things I love, yes, I know tons of methods to clear a house, and I can see with my own sight and, some of the people I work with, we can see different things and know what's going on. But to be able to, we have specific frequencies and we can say, is this affected by, a ley line, or is this affected by geomagnetic stress, or is this affected by the EMF? Is that creating kind of a portal situation? And do we need to really shut down the EMF in this house? There's found to be such strong connections between high levels of EMF and paranormal activity. It's almost like it opens up the space for it to occur. And so now we can go in, and again, I guess it's so time saving, where before I'd have to, spend a day or two dealing with these, severe situations, literally in hours. We know exactly by frequency, bouncing the frequencies off, what's going on. We then can, know specifically what to do to kind of shut it off. And I'm just finding we can help so many more people just with the speed. It's just like the internet, it gets quicker and quicker and quicker. Your TVs get bigger and bigger. First they get flatter, then they get curved, it's just always changing. And I'm sure the technology that we have, I'm sure there's actually much more advanced technology we have no idea about that'll be coming out soon in all fields. But I just love being able to help people, and the beautiful thing about energy, of course, Rob, is you don't have to be there. So I'm not having to travel as much and, take that time away from my family and away from my practice. So it's just win-win-win, I think, for everyone. And it's funny that you mentioned children, because what I love about this is, again, you don't have to, what I call, violate a child's personal space or their traumatic memories, or you can analyze a child, you can analyze their phobias and fears, you can get down to the nitty-gritty emotions they're feeling. Are they feeling grief? Are they feeling anger? Some parents are shocked to hear, their child's very angry. It may not be showing. They may be showing as depressed or something else. And the body is so specific, and the energy field stores so much information that literally a newborn baby can be having problems in China. And if the parent calls me, we can get resolution pretty quickly. Is this a digestive issue? What is this? Is this an emotional problem? Why is this child crying? Is it colic? Is it something else? And we can just drill down in minutes. And it's just phenomenal, because I've never been able to do that. I could always do it, but it would take some time. And when you can go from, days to hours and hours to minutes and minutes to seconds, I just think it's super exciting.
With all the people that you meet during the day, whether it's doing your work as a naturopathic doctor, or whether it's helping people better understand what is happening to them and why, is there any string or anything that you see is found in all of these people? A common thread?
I love that you asked that. I do. In everyone, I see this common, huge digestive issue. From the babies to the older people, it is just, our guts are a mess. And that is so involved with the immune system. It's so involved with our emotional and mental health. It's so involved with basically everything. I mean, it's at the center of your being. It's it's around your third chakra. It has to do with personal power and strength. And, it's in the center of your body for a reason.
Sure.
And consistently that comes up. As far as a more energetic thing, we see a lot of cell phone tower influence, a lot of Wi-Fi, a lot of radiation. A lot of that people just aren't. One thing I find I don't think people are really hearing is the EMF warnings that are everywhere. And they're actually everywhere. They're from conventional medicine. They're from scientists. They're from, really that's a big topic now. But I don't think people are listening. I don't think they're saying, where is my Wi-Fi router? Am I sleeping by my cell phone? And if I am doing that, what am I doing to mitigate that? Because, and I don't want to get way off on this, but there's things we can bring into our home and devices that are created and things that people sell. And we can, if we're going to have our technology all around us and on all the time, we need to provide a buffer between us and it, because it is severely rocking people and coming up in the first layer at the first appointment, above emotional trauma, above severe health crises. Those two things, if people would pay attention to those two things, we could get a lot of relief.
Speaking about health crisis, what about the obesity problem? How can you help people who are, bless them, suffering from this overweight problem, and it is on the rise?
And I live in the South and of the United States, and with us, I'll tell you what a huge problem in the South is with obesity. It's sweet tea. It's those sugary drinks, and everywhere. It's the soda or pop, whatever you call it. It's the constant sugar that we're either eating in the form of carbs, quick carbs, and we're still wild for pasta. I don't care what people say about gluten, but I haven't seen any dip in any of the Italian restaurants around here's business. So we still love our bread. We love our pasta, which is converts to sugar. And I think sugar is a huge culprit over probably just about anything else. You can get into the allergies and stuff, but if you have a healthy immune system, you can eat gluten. At least you can eat organic gluten. You can eat milk or drink organic milk. I mean, there's some things you can do to mitigate some of those allergic responses. But I also think self-control. I think we eat when we're sad. I think we eat when we're happy. We're a people, or at least our countries, they're built around food is always attached to huge celebrations. Here in the United States, what's coming up?
Yeah.
Super Bowl. What do you see? Carbs and cheese and bacon and snacks and sugar and you know the thing, and alcohol, which is sugar. And I also think alcohol is very romanticized and very glorified once again, and part of a lot of people's lives. And I'm not judging alcohol from an alcoholic standpoint, but I'm judging it. It's sugar.
Yeah.
So I just think there's a lot there.
But when we look at sugar, the argument between sugar and aspartame, I used this story to try and get my point across to our listeners that one day I was at a convenience store that was near a school, a high school. And the kids were coming in, and what were they buying? They were buying chocolate bars, they were buying chips, and Diet Pop with aspartame.
I love that. And of course we know, aspartame is an excitotoxin, so it's going to become something that you're addicted to. And you just remind me of my parents. I begged and pleaded with them. I mean, sugar has its own, obviously, like we're talking about, its own demerits. But, I begged with my parents, please don't drink aspartame pop. And you just cannot convince them. But, we think we're cutting, and we are. We're cutting the calories, but at what expense? We're just basically, adding something that's semi-natural and switching it out, or adding into something that is possibly proven to be quite poisonous and very stressful on the system.
I was on that famous carb-free diet for a while. And I'll tell you, my cravings for pasta just went off the scale. I would have given anything for a big bowl filled with angel hair pasta, smothered in sauce with all the beautiful mushrooms, hot peppers, and onions, and then that cheese just sprinkled on it. But I was on that diet and I couldn't. The funny part about the diet was, I lost 25 pounds in no time flat, but as soon as you get off the diet, boing, it goes right back. And about our society, we live in a sit-down society, a drive-through society. You've got drive-through coffee shops. You have drive-through fast food shops. You have drive-through pharmacies. And now you even have drive-through funeral homes.
Really?
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Where are we going? Well, first of all, we're going to go for a fast bite, at McDonald's, and we'll take it in the car. We'll go through to the drive-thru because we have to go to Aunt Bertha's funeral, and we don't want everybody else to see us eating as we drive by the show and tell room of the funeral home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I have a comment about your low-carb, no-carb diet. It's so funny because one thing we've observed just in working with lots and lots of people is people on that diet are not as happy as people that are heavier and eat carbs. So it's kind of you need that for the serotonin and for the brain chemicals. You need a little bit of something, but I just think it's interesting. People just seem to be a little happier, and maybe it's the sugar effect, but I also think we do need a healthy amount of carbs in some of those diets. It's all about balance and moderation, and we see this over and over in these scans. The body and the energy field and the homes and the pets and the people. They're really screaming for harmony and for balance. And if we understand that everything's going toward, harmonics, and that's another thing we discovered too, especially people, the more awakened people and the more advanced souls, they're asking for solfeggio tones. They're asking for tones that they're missing when they watch their TV, and they're missing in the modern music. And when we add those back into lives, magical things happen. So it's just super interesting.
Whenever my wife gets a little antsy, I go to the corner store and I get her a giant Kit Kat bar. That kind of takes care of any problems,
That's sweet.
With all the data that we're inundated with, the iPod, the iPad, the Wi-Fi, the TV sets, the computers all over the place, How is this affecting our body? I'm not talking about the RF side. I'm not talking about the EMF side.
Right.
I'm talking about the amount of data that we're being inundated with. How does this affect us?
My observation, in my opinion, is that it creates a no time to connect yourself. Everything's being filtered through what someone else feels, what someone else thinks, someone else's interpretation of an event or a feeling or a thought. And so we're kind of both extremes. We're awakening and we're connecting to our abilities, some of us, but the rest of us are kind of turning into kind of semi-mindless zombies. And just before I came on, I was reading an article about how in America, so many people are going to emergency rooms because they're walking into traffic on their cell phones.
Yeah.
This is becoming life-threatening. I mean, literally, life-threatening. And it's so sad. One of my observations, and we talked about this last time, but I'm continuing to see it, and it breaks my heart. I was eating with my girls in the restaurant, and, there was a mother on her phone and her small children sitting there, and she looked like she just, came from work and took the family out for dinner. And I just thought, gosh, I used to want to get away from my parents, but now I appreciate, when I was young, but I appreciate now that they actually sat there and we looked each other in the eye and we had that conversation and we had that human connection. And I think we are losing some of our humanity just by the mind numbing. I mean, I don't have enough time to do research and talk to other practitioners, and there's so much connection available. Haven't you found this, Rob? Even the possibility of professional connections. Do you have time to talk to everybody you want to? Because I don't.
No,
it's
neither
just
do I.
Wide open.
Exactly. I often wonder what will happen the day that there is a massive solar flare and our communication systems are knocked out for a while. How are those who are not used to using a telephone or using the art of communication, which is talking and listening on both sides, how are they going to cope with it? No Twitter, no Facebook. Oh my Lord, what are they going to do?
I love that because I've made another observation, and it's we're losing those trade skills. I mean, I have people in my group and that I talk to, and they don't know how to grow a garden. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know how to grow a garden? Like, I grew up knowing how to start plants from seed.
Sure.
They're like, wait, you start plants from a seed? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, no, you go buy them in the store. I'm like, you don't have to. They're like, you can start them yourself from a seed. I mean, but do you see what we're losing? We have information all around us, but we're not learning necessary skills for both, human connection survival as far as our emotional needs, and for real survival. It's so sad. You used to have to go to the mountains and go on a hike and get lost to wander off and die. But I think you have a great point that if that would happen, I think a lot of people would literally perish for lack of true knowledge and true connection.
The people who are playing those little games that you can download for free, I know a couple of my girls. That's all they do. Wow, they don't even talk anymore to themselves. So what we do here at home, when you come in, there's a table on the right-hand side in the foyer.
That's good.
That's where you leave your cell phone. That's where you leave your iPad. Whatever electronic gizmo you have, you leave it there. And on your way home, you pick it up. Now, it didn't...
my girls might hate you. I might have to try that.
Oh, listen, they hate you.
Posters of Rob with X's, red X's.
Yeah. Rob is you've heard of the Antichrist. Well, at times I'm the anti-iPod. But it worked. Finally people were communicating, and then they discovered board games. Wow.
That's great.
We can interact with board games. Listen, Kim, our time is coming up very fast. What is your final message for the X-Zone Nation tonight? What's your words of wisdom?
My final message is there is so much hope and healing out there. Do not think that your only option is to do what you've always done. Mm-hmm. Start putting things in online, go to the library, talk to people, talk to your friends. There is great technology. You are born at this time to avail yourself of this technology, to get well, to be happy so you can help other people.
Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, it's always a great pleasure talking to you. We'll be in touch with you to get you back on within the next month because our listeners love you. You have so much information to share, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, my pleasure, Rob. Many blessings.
To you too, Doctor. Take care of yourself, and let our listeners know how they can find out about you and contact you if they need to use your services.
Absolutely. Like you said, KimberlyMcGeorge.com.
It's that simple. Kim, take care of yourself, and once again, have a happy, great New Year.
Thank you.
Exo Nation, that was Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, www.KimberlyMcGeorge.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. This is the X Zone, and as I keep saying, this is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And no matter who you are, if you're a believer, if you're a skeptic, we love you. You're welcomed here to share your experiences, to share what you have to offer. Just send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. We'll be back. Don't go away.